Hi, thank you for joining us for the Q&A of Pianoforte. My name is Dominique O'Neill. I'm a programmer at SF DocFest, and I'm very pleased to welcome the director of the film, Jakub Piątek. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Hi, thanks for having us.
Let's just start this off by why don't you tell us a little bit about how you found out about this competition?
Okay, so there's not a lot of like finding out, because like when being raised in Poland, it's like really a football nation. But every 5 years, like we all like switch from the football to talking about the scherzo and like Polonaise and the Chopin music, and it's like everywhere. And like international airport in Warsaw, it's called Chopin Airport. So it's kind of, that it's around. But I'm not a musician myself. So like for the very first time, I was in a Philharmonic hall when I was like started studying, and I was there just by like just because I was interested and never been before. And but I knew that I started to work with people from Chopin Institute as a freelance filmmaker. So I was doing like teasers for concerts and like a small videos for them, and that's how I like met artists. And when I remember like one particular moment when Marta Argerich and she won in '65 the competition. And she's like the biggest star in the pianist world, and she entered the stage, and I was just like keep asking myself the questions like, okay, what brought her here, and like what's the cost and what's the effort. So I started to talk with the organizers to make a film, because like last film that was made is from '71. So I just thought that maybe it's after 50 years it's good to be back and like revisit it again. And I just like felt that like there is an engine inside the competition for a storytelling, which is like also kind of a it's the same engine as in Game of Thrones. So the stakes are high. The throne is just for one person, and like somebody will die eventually.
Yeah,
so
piano
yes,
is very dangerous.
yeah. So like that was like the beginning, but also we had I watched like all the archives about the festival, and also like I watched like other documentaries about the classical music, and I always like had the feeling that that it's like I'm gonna put my camera somewhere here, and like it was always like from a knee position. It was like always about like a serious artist or already established, and I had like this intuition that in this world with those protagonists you can tell a story of young people, and maybe that this competition is like maybe the last moment before they will have agents and publicists and like PR people around, and they will perform in Carnegie Hall, and so like the last moment, like to have like an honest opportunity for an honest portrait.
Right. And how did you choose which of the pianists to follow?
So I asked like because before the competition there is like a preliminary stage, and there is like 160 of them. So I asked all of them to just to record like a short video, so I could like meet all of them. And then like I conducted like around like 40-50 conversations like we are having on Zoom, like an hour long or something like this. And during the preliminary, I had an opportunity to, with a small crew, just to be with them and check what themes they are there, or like in their lives. And like quickly after the preliminaries, we conducted all of those scenes with in China, in Moscow, in Italy, in Poland, and it also like created like this special bond, because like we said to each other, okay, we are not looking for a winner, we are like interested, like genuinely interested into your story, and it created a bond on one side, and they could like give us an access to those moments that are in film. But on the other hand, it was like a huge risk for a film, because like after found that like the next day we are just doing like, you know, the airport scenes, and they are all coming back home.
Mhm.
So like just using a math, we should have like a 1.5 protagonist in the final. We kind of
Mhm.
like just using the intuition, because we are not musicians,
Right.
we had a little bit of luck.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really amazing. I mean, so many of them made it to the top, like the final competition.
Mm.
It's really amazing. Um, and there were you followed about 6 people. Can you talk about how you were able to capture all of their critical moments? Because it seemed like the camera was there during the announcements for every single pianist.
Yeah, so at some point I had a feeling that we are not making a documentary, but we are like doing like the, you know, reality show basically,
Hmm.
but in a pianist world. So there was like up to 3 crews working, and
Wow.
what I did was that we introduced like cinematographers and sound people to them
Hmm.
before, so they were already like know each other, and there was a bond already.
Hmm.
And I, because like it's all really convenient, it's just, you know, Philharmonic Hall hotel 5 minutes away, on foot, and like a university when they are like practicing like five
Hmm.
minutes away, so I could like jump, like I knew like that's the crucial moment in a schedule of this person or that person, and I could jump between the crews easily.
Hmm.
And when like, you know, they were like endlessly practicing, I could like leave like my crew there, and just like, you know, discuss like what kind of a shots we need in a way.
Hmm.
So yeah, and there was, because like we also did it during the coronavirus,
Yeah.
so we couldn't, for example, go to China because there was like 21 days of quarantine
Oh,
at
wow.
entry, and 10 days at, you know,
Hmm.
leaving China. So I just asked like a friend of mine who's like a Chinese DP, and he like, you know, conducted the shooting with Hao Zhao and Vivian
Hmm.
Lee. And at some point it was like incredible, because we overlapped the shooting period, and I was in Italy with a crew, and
Hmm.
at the same time they were shooting in Russia and in China. So, and
Wow.
because of like time zones, we couldn't sleep for 2 days, because we watched the dailies and we were shooting
Wow.
our stuff, and it was like, you know, it was like this crazy kind of like reality show. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to get back to the editing in just a second, but because you brought up the pandemic, I just wanted to ask, was there any other like challenges related to that? Like in what year did you film? Because you know, you see the audience with masks on, so I'm just wondering, were there any other pandemic related filming
Yeah,
challenges that you had?
yeah, of course. Like we had like the most crucial like thing for us was also like the performances of our protagonists.
Hmm.
And so we needed to be like in a ninja mode. So it's even in the film, like Michelle is saying like, now guys, it's time for you to leave. And like when you needed like empathy, and just like to be there and like feel the air in a way that that we need to like step back.
Hmm.
But I remember also like the one moment with Eva, like just before the her entering like the final stage and the final concerto, and I asked her like directly, maybe it's, you know, it's 15 minutes towards your performance, maybe we need to leave, and she said like, no guys, I need you to be here with me like all
Hmm.
the time, like till the end. But it was also like related with coronavirus, so we, you know, we worked like hardly with masks on, and we like tested each other, because like that was like my worst nightmare back then. Like one was like losing the protagonist and they are all leaving home, and second that someone got sick, and we are, you know, we are like killing a dream in a way that someone prepared, like, you know, for a couple of years or the whole life for it. So yeah, that was a challenge.
Right. Wow. Yeah. And if there's a certain age too in which they can only perform, right? Like you can only perform like because they're all young people. So is there a cutoff for
Yeah, they are between like 17 and 30 years old.
Yeah. Okay.
But like our protagonist, like like the oldest one is like 29.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And then to go back just to the filmmaking and the editing, you know, the film cycles pretty quickly between the participants, and you start to see the humor, and you start to see who they are, and you start to see what makes them nervous. And I'm just wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you and your editor were able to like create that through this like cycling of characters.
Yeah, it was like a longer process, because we started like in November 2021, just you know, just when the competition was over, and I think we had like a picture lock a year later. So we like finished like editing. Of course, it wasn't like that intense like for the whole like year. We did like also like different stuff, but we kind of like quickly found like the right structure, also with those like flashbacks like before the competition sequences. But it was like always about finding like the right balance between the protagonists, and also like was like the important part was like setting the tone of the film, because we are not musicians, not me, not editor, which happens to be also my wife. We are not musicians, but so the film was also like, you know, maybe not targeted, but like kind of like to people who are not, you know, philharmonic goers or classical music lovers. So it was like also like important for us. We've got like, you know, the serious competition, serious stuff with classical music, and setting up the like the humor and the tone of the film. So like, for example, you know, I always like, if I have a opportunity, I'm always like staying for the screenings till now at the beginning, and just seeing if the audience is reacting for a scene with a cat, because that's setting the tone that, you know, it's really serious, but at the end like the cat is licking his ass and trying to eat a pizza, and so you are just like, you know, giving a glimpse to the audience that you can laugh like at this film, and it's like it's pretty okay with us. Yeah, so like that was like the part. And also like we really wanted to, because we knew from before the shooting that also like the music can transport us like places and throughout the time. And so we also like shot like a little bit more of the music scenes, but it was also like crucial in the editing. And we wanted like also like, you know, to praise our artist on screen. So for example, with the final concerto scene, whenever you see someone, that you also like hear the music. So like the concerto is like just edited with all of the performances, and it also like, you know, we really wanted, if you watch, it's you can feel it in cinema mainly, but we are starting like the sound, the music like with the really rough kind of a sound, you know, with just 2 microphones in the practice rooms, and it's building up to the concerto when there is like, you know, 60 or more tracks, 60 or more like microphones hanging in a philharmonic hall that we could use for recording.
Yeah, that final scene is so beautiful. It's just like this beautiful culmination of all of them. It's so nice and really lovely how that came together. Can you also talk about the use of modern music? Like you have like Tame Impala and Arcade
Yeah.
Fire at these like really key moments. Can you talk about that
Yeah,
choice?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's the music like from my like, coming of age stage of
Hmm.
life. And because as I said, I like I was like in classical music world like quite lately. So that like this kind of like, suburban kind of like coming of age vibe music was like closer to my skin in a way.
Hmm.
And also like I kind of like this, this playing with expectations that you are like watching the film of about the classical music, and then bam, it's Tame Impala, and we can see them as rock stars, which they kind of aren't
Hmm.
like in modern times. But yeah, I would, in a film we can do a lot, so we can like imagine that they are.
Yeah.
So why not? Yeah. And it was also like, also like a brave decision for a producer to, to go through it and like, and like negotiate, because it's like it's not the music that you normally use in a documentary films with those
Yeah.
budgets. Yeah.
Yeah. And I loved how the film ended in showing the pianists as young artists, like their like recital footage. I just thought it was so fitting as a way to end that film. Do you have any final thoughts that you can share about like this theme of like the dedication throughout their lives and what these artists are putting themselves through in order to do this?
Mm. Yeah. So I had like this impression that we all know that if you want to be a concert pianist, there is like a lot of hard work. For example,
Hmm.
if you want to be like a professional tennis player, there is like a lot of hard work behind that.
Hmm.
But there is like a slight difference between like knowing something for sure and like just witnessing it in a film,
Hmm.
that you really see what's behind it, and what kind of like a cost and effort. And yeah, I really learned a lot as a human being, like from protagonists also during the process, and because they they like yeah, they gave us, they trusted us also. So from simple things like how to work with your breathing methods, or how to lose stress a little bit,
Hmm.
towards like like the like they are like super talented and like also like super smart in a way and intelligent. I heard like once that like scientists conducted this test on the brain,
Hmm.
and like the concert pianist during the performance is like the highest. It's a peak of a brain activity, because you've got like
Wow.
your emotional side, you are hearing, there is a
Yeah.
memory, and there is left hand, right hand, left foot, right foot, and breathing and everything, all
Hmm.
together at the highest level. So yeah, it was like yeah, I feel like I feel like privileged to like that I had front row seats uh during that journey, and that I could be closer to the process, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, what a privilege for us to be able to see this film. Thank you so much for sharing it with us and for sharing it with the world. And congratulations on it. And thank you for joining us for the Q&A.
Yeah, and thank you like
Yeah.
for programming us in the festival. Yeah, we are really happy. Thanks.
Yeah.